It's been brought to my attention that Mrs. Keith's second grade class has had their students write some thank yous to veterans. And they're posted in the hallway. I understand down at the other end, and they're really good. I haven't gotten down to see them, but they're going to be posted there through the student-teacher conferences that they're being held this week. So we make sure that you go down and take a look at those, and after this week we'll try to make a few of those up and maybe get a few of those in the paper. But we thank Mrs. Keith for her efforts in that. We'll proceed right into the original patriotic readings. Most of you, I said, hopefully have programs. We'll start with McKenna Goski. Our other student is absent today. Stefan is gone. But McKenna Goski can come up for her reading.
What Veterans Day means to me. Veterans Day to me is a day to honor and remember those who have died and fought for our country, those who have fought in wars, and those who are fighting in the war right now. Even if you don't know any veterans, you should still honor them every day. They fought as Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine. It doesn't matter because they all fought in war and sacrificed their lives for ours. It doesn't matter if they fought in World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, Persian Gulf War, Iraq War, Korean War, Afghanistan War, or any other war. It doesn't matter because they all sacrificed their lives for ours. I think veterans should be honored every day, not just one day, but we should still have this one day where we can remember and honor veterans though. I think this day is very important because the veterans are going out and risking their lives to make our lives better. I think veterans are like superheroes because they bring peace and freedom to our lives. I think veterans have a lot of courage because they are leaving their families and lives to fight for our freedom. I think veterans also are people with a lot of hope and strength because they can be afraid that they will never come back home, but they still go out and fight for their family and all the other people in the United States. I think veterans are really strong because they go out and sacrifice their lives for ours and make our lives better. This is what Veterans Day means to me.
Thank you, John. Our next student leader will be Krista Gordon. Krista, please come up.
What does Veterans Day mean to me? I ask myself this question every year on November 11th. To me, it is a day to appreciate and respect every amazing thing our veterans have done and are doing. It is a day to respect all the people who have died in the military, served, and are currently serving in the military. They dedicate their lives to keeping our country safe. I think about how lots of families are split up. I don't think I could be split up from my family for that long, not knowing if they were okay or what they were doing. They could be separated for months, even years. I think of all the little kids who have grown up without mom and dads. Some of them never get them back either. For parents, it would be hard too. They have to leave their kids not knowing if they will ever see them again. I think that Veterans Day is not just a day to think about violence, death, and destruction. I think it is a day to think about how much our veterans have done and are doing for our country. If they didn't fight for us, we would not be living in the United States of America. The veterans are protecting freedoms that make this country free. Lots of other countries don't have the same rights we do. That's why our veterans are so proud to risk their lives to do what they do. I think that the veterans are very brave. They have to just leave their family and go to war. I think that they are powerful and proud to be American citizens. They are very powerful because they are risking their lives to keep the country that they love free. They are proud to keep us safe and free. I think that it is so amazing that they are basically just going to war to fight so that people like you and I don't have to change our lives. Like most families, I have veterans in mind. My dad and both grandpas have served for this country. I'm very proud of them and all my other veterans. I think that they serve for this country because they wanted the rest of my family to be safe and have the right to protect them. They are very important people to me. Veterans Day is not just, it's a very special and important holiday. No, we don't get presents, but it is the day we What they do is amazing and they deserve to be honored. Without them, we would not be the same country or the same people. We should show our appreciation to them not just November 11th, but every day. That's what Veterans Day means to me.
Thank you. I'll have Cassidy Broadwater, please.
My favorite veteran is my Uncle John Framer. He is my favorite veteran because he fights for us overseas and he has sacrificed a lot to protect our country. You have to be willing to fight for your country and people to be a veteran. My uncle is very brave, strong, and fearless. John is very much more than that too, and he has sacrificed a lot for our country. Most veterans have families, but they have to leave their family to fight for our country. My Uncle John is married to Heather and has a daughter named Bailey. He also has 3 sisters, a brother, nieces, and nephews. He has a mom, stepmom, dad, and grandparents. That is our family, and I am proud that he leaves us to fight for us and our country. Veterans might not die from old age, but maybe from a gun or something else, because they are fighting for our country and all of us. They do it because they love us and our country. They are braver than I could ever be to do anything like that. I will never forget that the veterans fight for us and our country. When I was younger, I hated it when my Uncle John left to fight, but then when I got older, I remember he went to fight for our country and me. I like that he fights, but I do not like that he leaves and could die. He fights and does not give up. He will never give up ever. And I will never forget that what he has done for our country and myself. But most of all, I love him for everything he has done and continues to do.
Very nice. Bring up our next speaker, Nick Bringerson.
My favorite veteran. My grandpa is my favorite veteran. He was in the Air Force and served in the Vietnam War. He started out at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas for basic training in 1964. Then he went to school for aircraft weapons training at Laurie Air Force Base near Denver, Colorado. After that, he went to Barksdale Air Force Base in Bossier City, Louisiana, and worked loading nuclear weapons into B-52s. In July 1966, he went to Vietnam with the 4th Air Commando Squadron based on Quang Au, South Vietnam, where he flew over 100 combat missions on the AC-47 battleship as a weapons crewman. The AC-47 had 3 mini Gatling guns per ship, fired 100 rounds of ammunition per second. The aircraft got the nickname Spoopy and Puff the Magic Dragon because when the guns were firing laser bullets, it looked like a dragon spitting out fire from the sky. After returning from Vietnam in August 1967, he was sent to the Grand Forks Air Force Base in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where he worked on F-101 and F-106 interceptors. His final assignment was at Lockhorn Air Force Base in Ohio, where he was involved in training air crews on a new gunship called the AC-130 gunship. This aircraft had 4 miniguns and a 20mm Gatling, and later it had the option of a cannon. When he was discharged from the Air Force in 1968, he He went to college at Winona State University in Winona, Minnesota, and graduated in 1972. My grandpa is not only my favorite veteran, he is also my favorite person. He has always been there for me. He loves it when I come over and watch movies with him. Basically, I do everything with him, so I hope you have a special bond with someone like me and my grandpa. That's why I chose him.
Now we're going to provide a musical selection by 4th, 5th, and 6th graders as they sing God Bless the USA. Before we proceed to the rest of the readings, I'd like to take just a few minutes to recognize the veterans themselves here. And we also have some of the audience, and I'm going to ask you to stand too as I call your hero. I'd like to introduce the veterans by hero because this country has been at war for a number of years and still is for that matter. So usually what I do is I start with the World War II veterans, if there are any among us, and have those folks stand. If you're in the audience, please stand too if you recognize. Well, the World War II veterans with us here today, we had a couple up in Hartley this morning. Korea, the Korean conflict, please stand if you were in. We have one in the audience and several back here. Give these folks a round of applause. Active service during Vietnam era, some years. Yes. Any other hostile actions I'm going to say in Grenada, Kosovo, any other up until present day, please stand if you were involved in any of those during those years. We have one here. Good to have on the floor. We'll talk about that for a while. Conflicts, Iraq, Afghanistan, and very freedom. Anybody here that was all this stuff we have this Thank you. Anybody else like this? If you're active service, please stand. Anyone like this? Okay, we're good there. We'll I have more remarks here as we continue on, but thanks to the staff and everybody here at Fillmore Central Elementary for having us here today and having our annual Veterans Day observance. We'll continue on now before we go any further. Poppies, young children give these kids poppies, nice touch on poppies, kids. Very nice. We will continue then with the patriotic greetings. Molly McCurran, please come up.
What Veterans Day means to me. Veterans Day is a time where people can remember the heroes who fought and died for us. But a time when you can visit someone's graves and say that they are the true Americans, where you help make life better and allow us to have a freedom. But if it was me, I would get a huge list on why they made life better, or why they were the true Americans. And I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to try and sum it up. Veterans Day means strength, courage, bravery, and to be proud. It also means to remember and not forget that all Americans have done. To have the strength they had or have had, to receive the courage to serve our country, to be brave and never back down even when times are tough. And last but not least, to be proud that our country is fighting for our freedom. When the flag is raised, it reminds me of the people who have enlisted as well as independence. My favorite quote from Star Spangled Banner is, "The last line, or the land of the free and all of the brave." The quote means that we always have independence, freedom, and bravery. I also like looking at the United States seal where the eagle is holding the olive branch, meaning we want to live in peace, but it is also holding the arrows, meaning if we have to go to war, we will defend ourselves. Since 1938, we have been celebrating the Veterans Day that are living in that are dead. The people with family and friends in the Army, this is a time where you as a person can make a veteran smile by just coming to see you. For those who live with someone in the Army as a family or friend, you know you will be seeing all the defeats. Whether your family or friend is in the Great War, Navy, Marines, Air Force, or Army, they are truly lived their life as an American hero. I will always remember that what it means to be a veteran, to have leadership, courage, and the heart of the United States in your life. God bless the USA.
Thank you, Molly. Next, we'll have Brandon Peterson, please.
What Veterans Day means to me. What does a veteran mean to me? A veteran means freedom to me. A veteran means I have freedom to walk on the sidewalk to meet a friend, to go anywhere I want to go. A veteran means we are protected from the bad people around the world. A veteran means I don't have to be scared or live all the time. When I think of a veteran, I think of all they have done for the citizens of the United States. I think of all they have sacrificed for our freedom. I think of the difference each veteran must have made for each of us. Veteran means bravery to me. A veteran has to sacrifice their lives to give us what we need. I think of the veterans that had to lie in the mud, watch out for someone to come along. Veterans had to sleep in dug holes in the ground, surrounded by cars to keep safe and blend in so they aren't seen so easily. All while we are in our comfortable young beds. They don't have McDonald's out in the fields, so they have to eat food in a bag. A veteran protects us and fights for us in dangerous situations for very long pain. A veteran does not get to spend time with their families on the holidays or any other day of the year when they are on active duty. A veteran gives up their freedom so all Americans can have theirs. What I saving the lives of many people. That's what Veteran Day means to me.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah, Sue, come on, please.
What Veterans Day means to me. To me, Veterans Day is a day to honor and recognize men and women that are alive or have died, who have fought or are fighting for our country. No country has ever done as many good things as we have done. Veterans deserve the care and respect we give them on Veterans Day every day for fighting for our country and our freedom. I hope people can see all the good things we have because of our veterans. Some of the good things we have because of our veterans is freedom, because without them we won't be free today. That is a big thing because if we were not free, we couldn't do all the things we like doing. A veteran must have a lot of bravery to put their life at risk for our freedom. Some veterans don't see any of their family for months or years. I know I can do that. Veterans Day means the world to me because if it wasn't for the veterans, I wouldn't be free to do the things I love doing today. To think there's about 25 million veterans and we only honor them for one day a year. So we have to make that day really special for them. Reasons we honor them is because they have the courage and bravery to fight for our country. I'm not sure if I could do that, but I'm glad there are people who will risk their life for our country and our freedom. Veterans must love their country to risk their life for it. Since the Revolutionary War to now, people have been fighting for our country. That's what Veterans Day means to me.
Jared Shaw, please.
My favorite veteran. On Veterans Day, we honor those who have served our country. I'd like to take a minute to honor my favorite veteran, Staff Sergeant John Hornbuckle, who is a special part of my life because he is married to my godmother, Amy. He serves in the United States Army and enlisted in 2003, so he has been serving in the Army for 10 years. He is an E6 Staff Sergeant currently stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia. His job at Fort Benning is to train the privates and new lieutenants on the use of mortars and machine guns in the field. Prior to being stationed here, he was stationed at Schofield Barracks on the island of Oahu, Hawaii, Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and overseas in South Korea. He served in Iraq for 2 tours of 1 year each, and most recently served in Afghanistan for 1 year as an infantryman. This means that he was on the ground. He was one of the ground troops armed with a rifle. While there, he did some patrols with the help of a remote control toy truck with the camera mounted on it. This truck traveled in front of the troops who served
as we proceed with the program, it's listed as closing remarks. But actually, it's going to be a little bit more than that. But I won't be too long into the promise. I have a few announcements to make, a few comments to make before I get into the formal part of the program. I'd like to thank all of the sixth graders that did their writing, especially you guys that did the reading. I think what we saw here today, and we also saw up at the high school, 7th and 8th graders did a program called Patriots Pen. And I had the privilege of being on the judging team of taking those 60 essays. Joan was also one, there's others that come with the judging. Very difficult to judge. I think what we see in these youngsters is that there are patriots way before their age. They're young, you wouldn't expect to hear these kind of statements and this kind of writing on kids this young, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Outstanding is all I can say. Keep up the good work. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone here today for our annual observance of Veterans Day. We thank all the veterans that came in uniform to help us in participation. Thank the auxiliary that showed up in force here also today. Thank you, ladies. Veterans Day was actually started after the First World War, about 1918, but it didn't become a formal celebration, not certain celebration, it's not the proper word, a remembrance or observance until 20 years later. In 1938 it became officially Armistice Day, later being changed to Veterans Day. We gathered briefly each day annually to remember our great warriors who gave it all. Just a note for your information, only about 1% of the population actually serves in the military, has or is. And a current statistic that I found kind of interesting in preparation for this talk today was that 50% now our active duty forces are women. That's something to be proud of. That's a big change from years past. I'd like to bring it up. We're also commemorating today, I should say today, this year, 2013, the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. Some people, it has been commented in the past that it was called the Forgotten War. I think for those of you that have served during that conflict, it's certainly far from forgotten. We must remember each and every one. You've all heard the old cliche, freedom is not free. It's used a lot. The veterans here today are testimony to that statement. Many of the veterans have returned from duty, active duty, and combat zones are carrying some of the scars of the war, both physical and psychological. It's our duty as survivors of those conflicts to honor these heroes. These are our heroes. We often talk about liberty and freedom. So I got the books out here over the weekend and got up the definition. I'm not very good at a computer. I'm too old to really be very proficient, but I got the Webster's Dictionary out. Still do that. I looked up the definition of liberty. It's quite a long, lengthy description of that. Liberty, one of the definitions, is the release from slavery or imprisonment or captivity or any other form of arbitrary control. Freedom has a similar definition. That's why I hear liberty and freedom do so often together. Freedom is being able to act without hindrance or constraint. It's being able to choose and do what we wish. And I think that's where the thing of freedom comes together. I'm going to read you some excerpts from our in relation to freedom. And I take these as paraphrases from the prayer that we use in our military funerals. Some of you have heard these, some of you have not. But there's 6 in particular. I'm going to read them one at a time. The first one is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of press. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is a veteran, not the campus organizer, who allows them to demonstrate. The fourth one is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. And lastly, it's a veteran who salutes the flag, who serves the flag. It's a flag it's a veteran's coffin. And that allows the protester to burn that flag. As Americans, we enjoy all the freedoms and liberty I've mentioned because of all the brave men and women who have sacrificed and served and continue to serve. We give thanks to those veterans who are also in the current military. In closing, I'd like to use a quote from one of the essays I was read that just jumped right out at me when I read the essay. It's actually from Rihanna Ryan's Patriots bad to say it, that is. And it goes as this: we fight for freedom alone, not honor, not glory or wealth, but for freedom alone. The furthest a person can go is to fight for just cause and country and give their life in the process. As we leave this assembly today, let us show our respect for our flag, our respect for this great country. Let us thank the veteran for protecting us and for guarding our many freedoms. God bless you. God bless the USA. Thank you very much.